You are listening to Wilhelm, a film-centric podcast for film lovers of all kinds. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome to Wilhelm. I am your host, Ben Beck, and I want to preface this episode with an apology to some listeners. It has been 7 episodes. This will make the 7th episode of Wilhelm. The feedback has been great, so I'm really happy about that. But in 6 episodes, let me preface, the movie Baby Driver has come up 3 out of the 6 of those episodes. So I'm apologizing ahead of time. It's coming up again because this week we are talking all about the films of Edgar Wright. And man, I couldn't think of a better person to do this with. He's as big of a fan of Edgar Wright as I am, if not slightly bigger. Although he did never attend a screening of a movie with Edgar in the theater. So I've got that on him. But my host this week is my friend, fellow podcaster from the Run for Your Lives podcast, Strange Indeed, as well as other projects, Pake Allen.
Hey.
I'm so happy to get you on, Wilhelm. Finally.
Yeah.
Especially for this one.
Yes, I'm very excited to be here and be a part of this. Yeah.
And this one we're doing a little different. Ordinarily we do top 5 favorites. With Edgar, that's not really possible because he's done TV projects, he's done shorts and music videos. Yeah. But as far as feature films, there really are only 5 released.
Yeah.
There's another one coming soon. Depending on when you're listening to this, October 2021, with Last Night in Soho. And he did recently release a documentary, The Sparks Brothers, which we are going to talk about because we've both seen it, and I'm actually really excited and anxious to talk about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, this one's going to be a little different. We're gonna just kind of run down each of the 5 movies, and then in the end, we're gonna try our best to put them in order. But I feel like that's almost an impossible task.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm excited. When it comes to Edgar Wright, I couldn't think of a bigger person, a better fan than yourself.
Well, I appreciate that.
To bring on for this one. For those of you that aren't familiar with Edgar Wright, hopefully you are if you're listening to this. The 5 movies that we're going to talk about, Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, The World's End, and Baby Driver. I mentioned before, Baby Driver has come up a number of times, and it's because it really is that good.
It fits so many different genres and styles that the fact that it's come up 4 times now on this show in 7 episodes makes sense, because it was with soundtracks and with car chases and just
essential movies that we feel like people should watch. So yeah, it totally makes sense. But I figure, like, thinking about it, I was like, okay, Baby Driver has come up so many times. I don't want to keep apologizing for it. So let's just do Edgar Wright now, and we'll geek out completely about the movie, and then hopefully it won't come up again for a little while. I'm sure it probably will come up again, but many movies are bound to be repeated on this podcast. So that's fine. Like I said, formatted a little bit differently. We're not going to do a top 5 format as we usually do. This time we're just going to focus on each of the 5 films for a little period of time. And then we'll talk about Sparks Brothers, and we'll put the 5 movies in order as best we can by the end. I will still give the spoiler warning. We're going to be talking about these movies and diving into them probably a little deep. So if you haven't seen any of these movies, I apologize ahead of time that there will potentially be spoilers that happen for this. So let's kick it off. Let's start with the first of the 5 movies that Edgar has done. Shaun of the Dead from 2004. written and directed, or written by Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright, directed by Edgar Wright, and starring Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, Kate Ashfield, and Peter Serafinowicz, as well as a number of other people. Yeah. There's a couple of cameos in there as well. Mm-hmm. Lucy Davis is one of the cameos. I know Martin Freeman has a very quick cameo.
Yeah, Martin Freeman and Matt Lucas are both in that quick cameo scene.
Yes.
Which is great.
And so let's, obviously this is the one that really introduced me to Edgar. Yeah. I was a big zombie fan at the time that Shaun of the Dead came out. I didn't know what to expect because I was always a fan of, Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead, and Walking Dead hadn't come out yet.
No, I think Zack Snyder's remake of the Dawn of the Dead is my favorite zombie movie still.
Agreed.
To this time. And I think I first found out about Shaun of the Dead because it was one of the previews on my DVD of Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead, if I remember correctly.
And you're probably right, because if I remember, I think the Shaun of the Dead release got pushed back because they wanted Dawn of the Dead to release first.
Yeah. They
were both in production around the same time. So Shaun of the Dead got pushed back because they wanted Dawn of the Dead to release first. Mm-hmm. So it makes sense that Shaun of the Dead was, I'm pretty sure you're right. I actually think I remember that same thing now that you brought it up, I think I remember Shaun of the Dead being a trailer on the Dawn of the Dead DVD.
Yeah. And I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
It's like a comedic take on it. And it made me make sure to check that out. And then, like you said, that's because I didn't know much about Edgar Wright's. He had done some previous, like you said, like TV and short films and stuff like in British television, but this was his debut film. And so I didn't know anything about him. And so then going I've got to see what this is, and just falling in love with the comedy and the style and looking forward to whatever he did after that. Yeah.
Well, this was my first introduction. Now he had, I think one of the other more popular things he had done before Shaun of the Dead was Spaced.
Yeah.
Which was a 2-season, 6-episode preach. So 12 episodes in total, which I actually did go and watch after being introduced to Shaun of the Dead, because Shaun of the Dead wasn't just my first introduction to Edgar Wright. It was my first introduction to Simon Pegg. It was my first introduction to Nick Frost. I didn't know any of these guys before. And these are 3 guys now that I will watch anything any of them are involved in, whether together or separately. And you mentioned the comedic element on it, and you say you said when you remembered seeing the trailer, this is kind of a comedic take on zombies. I agree, and I kind of disagree. It's a comedic movie.
Yeah.
But one of the things I love about the film is the fact that while there are comedic elements, the zombies are taken seriously.
Yes, for sure. It's still a zombie movie with real stakes. Yeah. Yes.
People really die. You can really, be bitten by these. The world is really gone to shit. It's comedic, but the zombies are they're not spoofing zombie films.
Yeah.
They are.
There's a lot of great tropes that they used. But
absolutely.
But it's meant as an homage to zombie culture and zombie films, not to make fun of it.
And one of the best ones I can think of too, when we're diving into the little things about this, is one of my favorite ones that I found out is the fact that George Romero was a fan of Shaun of the Dead before he passed. There is a line in the movie that is a flat out homage to Night of the Living Dead, and that's Ed screaming into the phone, "We're coming to get you, Barbara."
Yes, I love that so much.
And the best part about that is when you kind of do your research about the movie, George Romero had no idea until Edgar Wright told him, "George, that's an homage to Night of the Living Dead." George had no idea that's what it was.
That's funny.
And we mentioned George Romero too. I don't know if you know this or not, but one of the follow-up films after Dawn of the Dead was Land of the Dead.
Yeah.
In which Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg, because George was such a fan of Shaun of the Dead, Edgar Wright and Simon both have cameos in Land of the Dead as zombies.
Yeah.
There's this, for those of you that don't know, there's a scene in Land of the Dead where they have 2 zombies chained up to a rack that you could stand in front of and take pictures. It's like a souvenir thing. The 2 zombies were Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
Which would have been great if they had Nick, but so, but I mean, like, what are some of the other things about this movie that kind of make you such a fan and made you really want to continue to watch Edgar Wright's work later?
I said, the comedy definitely is there. It's his style of humor. Like you said, the callback, that Romero, that "Come and Get You, Barbara" is great. But then also just like the attention to detail, like that you've got red on you, like these little things that keep popping up that, like, if you're paying attention, like, oh, there's so many running jokes going through this, or, the flowers that keep popping back up over and over. It's like, oh, they're for you. Oh, but, you're, to a great mom.
To a great mom.
Because I'm just giving you a hard time. And then, then it turns around and then it's for his mom. And she finds, I think these are for me. And it's just so many different running jokes that I love. The whole thing with, every time, so, oh, your dad's, it's not my dad. Like,
sorry, Philip.
Yep. Running over the plan every time. Go, kill Phil, go pick up Liz, head to the Winchester, wait for it all to blow over. Head to our place and wait for it all to blow over.
There are so many quotable lines in the film. Like you mentioned, the plan, head to the Winchester and wait for all this to blow over. That you've got red on you. How's that for a slice of fried gold? There's so many quotable lines that I still use to this day.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things about a majority of Edgar Wright's movies, in particular the Cornetto trilogy, which is what Shaun of the Dead kicks off. I think it's many people call it the Cornetto trilogy, but I think the true name, it's called the Blood and Ice Cream trilogy. I think that's what Edgar calls it. Most people call it Cornetto because
I have a box set with all the DVDs, and I think it says just Cornetto trilogy.
Yeah, I think it's become Cornetto, but I think when it was first planned, I think it was the Blood and Ice Cream trilogy was what it was called. But the running jokes don't just start and end with Shaun of the Dead. They run through that entire trilogy. And we'll get to some of them as we get to some of the other movies, but you're right. The running jokes throughout it. It's just, Shaun of the Dead is already such a brilliant movie in itself. It's fun to watch the Cornetto trilogy progress, and even throwing in Scott Pilgrim into that as well, and Baby Driver, you can kind of see the progression of Edgar's filmmaking. Yeah, it's, you look at other directors like Spielberg or Zemeckis or anything, like they have a great project here, a couple flops, great project here, a couple okay ones, and then whatever. There's really no progression to what they're doing. It's just kind of like their style throughout. Yeah. Edgar's, you can notice the style, but you can see the progression.
Yeah. Like the certain style that stays is, like I mentioned with this comedy, is mainly his writing dialogue. Yeah. Everything is so fast and quippy. And it's like I say, if you're paying attention, it's just the things that come up. Oh, what a callback to that. And that is a hilarious, something that somebody said that ties back, and it's making fun of this person. And he keeps that all the way through to Baby Driver, or even Sparks Brothers, like in like like there's like little things like the visual puns and all those things. Like there's just stuff that, like, it's just so quippy. Like it's small things that if you don't notice it, if you're not paying attention, you may miss something. Yeah, but it's all there. But then you said the progression is, talk about Shaun of the Dead, the scene where they're whacking the zombie with the pool cues to
Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. Yeah.
And it was just like taking that idea of like choreographing scenes to music. And then it's like, oh, well, now Scott Pilgrim does more like that. And then Baby Driver is like, the entire movie is based off of that idea. And it's that's exactly it too. When I mean the progression is like, you look at what he did with Shaun of the Dead, and then you look at Hot Fuzz, and it's like, okay, I see the style of Shaun of the Dead in here, but it's stepped up a bit. Yeah. And then there's Scott Pilgrim. Well, okay, I see the style of the past two movies, and now it's stepped up a bit. On to World's End. Okay, I see elements of Scott Pilgrim in here, and it's stepped up a bit. And then Baby Driver, and it's stepped up. There's that constant progression to the point where you mentioned that scene from Shaun of the Dead with the pool cues and Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. When Baby Driver came out, and I went and saw it opening weekend because I saw the trailer and I was like, yes, I want to see this movie, and loved it so much that when people asked me like, well, what is it? I would tell them, hey, that scene from Shaun of the Dead
where they were beating up the bartender to Don't Stop Me Now by Queen. Well, picture that the entire movie.
Yeah.
Like that's to a heist movie. Like that's Baby Driver. So, yeah, I mean, Shaun of the Dead really kicked off. I'm sure Edgar already had a style from some of his other projects that he did, but Shaun of the Dead was really his time to kind of spotlight what he could do when it came to filmmaking. Before we move on to another movie, let's knock out some favorite quotes, maybe a couple scenes, and then we'll knock out a couple tidbits too before, like some cool trivia before we move on to Hot Fuzz. Without going into like the entire movie, because I know that's very easy to do with all of them, what scenes kind of stick out as some of your favorite from this?
Man, wrapping the whole thing up with the end of having a zombie Ed in the shed, I think still to this day, I think is very funny, very clever. And like they go to show that like after this stuff, the events have passed, they're using zombies as
labor workers.
Yeah. Like they're still part of society in some way. They're like, well, they're good at like holding on to certain little things, so we can use them as like menial labor and things. And then Ed, of course, is the same like slacker that he always was, where his menial task as a zombie is just to sit in the shed and play video games. Whenever Shaun's wanting to go in and play for a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and what's funny too is I don't know if you've ever seen the DVD of Shaun of the Dead, but there were a couple special features on there that showed what happened to some of the characters. And I know one in particular, I don't remember what some of the other ones are, but I do remember in particular, you find out through the special features that Diane, who ran off after David, actually survived. She was chased by zombies after she realized that David was beyond gone, which you see in the movie, like he's torn apart. And she runs out after him. She actually does find a hiding spot in a tree and she survives.
Nice.
Which would have been fun if they ever, I know they were talking at one point of doing a sequel and making it a different monster. And I love the title because the title was going to be From Dusk Till Shaun. Which I think is just brilliant.
I love that.
But they decided not to progress with it, and then the idea of the Cornetto trilogy was instead, which I'm actually much happier that they did that. But if you've ever seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, there actually is a From Dusk Till Shaun poster
that's cool.
on his wall. But yeah, I like the whole Ed scene at the end and seeing what happened to Ed and that their friendship continued even after Ed was dead. Which I think was brilliant. As for me, I think like one of my favorite scenes, I gotta go with like the whole, I mean, you mentioned it, the whole Don't Stop Me Now scene with the pool cues is just like, it's such a great scene and it's brilliant. I mean, it's very clear, like you can look at the scene and you can see the padding in his suit. So you can see where they're whacking him with the pool cue, that it doesn't hurt him and everything, but it's still so much fun. And it actually starts one of the familiar tropes that happens throughout all three of the Cornetto trilogy movies, which we'll get to as we go through. But what's another one on your end?
Oh man, do I stick with Ed or like? There's a couple. I will say, since you mentioned again, I feel I blanked on her name again. So the one that survived at the end,
Diane,
yeah. That just a random running kind of joke throughout the movie, also of how she's actually in love with Shaun, and then David is obsessed, like infatuated with Liz. And this whole just like, because they just kind of keep running through that. Like, she just like is watching lovingly everything that Shaun's doing. And you can kind of see, like, it's very under the surface that she's just like happy. Almost happy that Liz is like not working out with him. Cause like, oh yeah, he can. And then like stuff comes up. It's like, oh, I'm sure you'll be happy with that. It's like, what is that supposed to mean? It's like, just keep poking at David the whole movie, being like, but you in love with Liz. And it's all very clear. And he's like, what are you talking about? And then Liz is like, it's very clear.
That's so under the surface that I've never picked up on that.
Really?
I honestly never picked up on Diane in love with Shaun. I mean, it's very clear that David is in love with Liz.
Yeah.
That goes without saying.
She's the one. Diane's the one that like comes to his defense and like all of these different situations where they're like.
But I took that as more that was because she was against David, not more because she was in love with Shaun. I guess it could be taken either way. I guess.
Yeah. So I feel like I caught some pretty lingering looks where I was like,
I mean, because of the fact that she's willing to sacrifice herself for David, who was very clearly already dead, to me kind of showed that she was definitely in love with David, even though David wasn't in love with her.
Yeah.
Or more forced himself to be in love with her because he couldn't have Liz.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite things about the movie too, and it's not necessarily one scene, but it kind of plays out throughout a couple of them, is that Shaun is not really a reluctant hero, because he very definitely wants to go and save Liz. So I mean, he's not reluctant; he wants to do it. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. Unlikely. Yeah. Unlikely hero. Like the times that he attempts and fails, I think are some of the funniest ones. The one in particular I'm thinking of is when they get to Liz's apartment and when they won't let him in. So he decides to try and climb up. But although that's before the zombie apocalypse.
That's before.
Yeah.
But you like hear him like struggling to climb and you're waiting to see if he shows up in the window.
And then you hear the buzzer.
And then he buzzes back in. Like, no.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely finds the oomph and the motivation to get it done when it comes down to it, because after the zombie breakout does happen, he does in fact climb up to that window, which he wasn't able to do earlier.
Yeah.
So, there's just some of the comedic moments in there. I don't want to focus on too many scenes because I don't want to spend like a half hour on each episode, because this podcast really is only like an hour to an hour and a half long. So, couple quotes from the movie. What kind of sticks out as some of your favorite?
I don't have anything down like
it's fine. It's fine. There's so many of them.
Yeah. Man, I go back to Ed with the whole, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Shaun.
I'm sorry. Oh, no, you don't have it. No, I'm sorry. Oh, God.
I'll do it when you stop laughing. I'm not laughing.
Mm-hmm.
Which actually, that actually reminds me of a scene that I love in the movie. And that is Shaun and Ed's final scene together alive.
Yeah.
When they're saying their goodbyes to one another.
Mm-hmm.
When when Ed says to him, like, I'll do it when you stop laughing. And Shaun says, I'm not laughing. And this is the one time he's not.
Yeah.
Like he's crying because Ed is sacrificing himself. He's gone.
Mm-hmm.
He's dying. He's on his way out. So a couple, I mean, I could go into some of my quotes too, but there's so many.
I'll go with one more before you go.
Okay.
Is Shaun trying to get his mom and Philip to leave. And, at first he's just trying to get his mom to leave, and he's going to say whatever he can to get Phil to like be left behind, because he thinks that Phil is infected at this time. He's really just like sick normally, but he thinks that he's been bitten and infected. It's like he's just going through this, he beat me and he did this. And then he's just like, he touched me inappropriately. And she stops and like looks at like, no, that's not true.
That's
like,
not true. It's so, oh my God, I love it. A couple things of trivia before we move on to the next movie, and there's so many of them that we're not going to get to all of them. Let's see. When asked by an interviewer when they chose to have slow-moving zombies instead of running zombies, Simon Pegg simply replied, because death is not an energy drink. I mentioned the sequel already. Shaun and Ed's friendship was based on Nick and Simon's actual friendship when they shared a flat together, which is also Spaced is pretty much the same thing. It was based on their life when they were flatmates. All the newsreaders and television presenters in the movie are real people portraying themselves. All the bit part characters, I love this because this is something I've picked up too. All the characters that you see in the movie, from Mary, the shop the shopkeeper, the cashier, all the bit parts that you see, everybody eventually returns later in the movie as a zombie.
Oh, that's cool.
You just have to look through and kind of find them. Let's see. Quentin Tarantino dubbed Shaun of the Dead as one of his top 20 favorite movies of all time. Well, a movie made since 1992. Let's see. According to Edgar Wright, cornettos appear in the movie because he once ate a cornetto to get over a hangover and thought it would be funny if Ed did the same thing after a night of drinking. And I have more on cornetto as we get through once we finish with World's End. I don't want to say them now, but also sporadically hinted at, the cause of the zombie invasion is never properly explained. Every time people are about to, they get interrupted by something. Usually a changing of the channel. Shaun's last name is actually revealed in the movie, but it's very quickly seen. Shaun's last name is Riley. It can be seen on a poster ad from Shaun's disc jockeying days. And I'll mention, let's see, we'll do one, maybe two more. Shaun's place of work is Forey Electric. Ken Forey starred in Dawn of the Dead in 1978. So that was another callback to another Romero film, nice, which I thought was cool. And the pajama zombie, the one that that he sticks the pole through and sticks him to the tree. That was actually voice dubbed over by Simon Pegg. So, I got to bring this one up and then we'll move on. The Wilhelm scream. The famous sound effect can be heard faintly in the background when the soldiers initially come to the rescue at the end of the movie.
Interesting.
Yep. So, so Shaun of the Dead kicks off the Cornetto trilogy, but we're going to move on to part 2 of the Cornetto trilogy, and that's Hot Fuzz from 2007. Yes. Rated R, obviously written and directed by Edgar Wright, also co-written by Simon Pegg, and again, starring Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, but a bunch of other amazing people in this movie. Martin Freeman, Bill Nye, Joe Cornish, Paul Freeman. What the hell's his name? James Bond. I can't think of Roger Moore. God, not Roger Moore. Wow, I'm really failing as a fan here.
Timothy Dalton.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it. There are so many trivia things about this movie.
There's a little hint. There's a different James Bond in the next movie in the trilogy.
There is. That's right. There are so many cool tidbits about this movie that, again, we're not going to get to all of them. But if you thought there was a lot about Shaun of the Dead, there is so many more about this movie. But let's start.
The names you mentioned. Yeah. That's something I love about all 3 of these Cornetto trilogy is like there is a core group of people that either in a small or larger part are in all of them in some regard.
Yeah. So Simon and Nick are obviously the stars of all 3 movies. But Martin Freeman and Bill Nye are also both in all 3 films.
All 3, yes.
Yeah. Bill Nye played Philip.
Rafe Spall is in all 3.
Yes, he is.
Even though he's in very small bits in some of them. Like he's just the guy trying to buy the house from Martin Freeman's character in World's End, which became, but like little spots because he's one of the Andys in this one in Hot Fuzz.
Yes, he is. He's one of the Andys in Hot Fuzz. He's one of the ones he's the guy with his wife in World's End, looking at the house in the beginning of the movie, and then in Shaun of the Dead, he is the douchebag clerk.
Yep.
That works at Forey with him. Mary. The woman, the actress that plays Mary in Shaun of the Dead is also in all 3 movies. She is actually his wife in World's End. Yeah. I can't remember who she is in Hot Fuzz. I know she's in it though. But a couple other notable cameos in Hot Fuzz, Cate Blanchett and Peter Jackson are both also in this movie. In Hot Fuzz, when Nicholas goes to tell his girlfriend who had just split up with him that he's moving, that's Cate Blanchett. she's wearing a mask, so she's not recognized. And in the opening of the movie, when you see all his accolades and you see the scene where he gets stabbed by Santa Claus in the hand, that's Peter Jackson.
Nice.
Yep. So just the fact that so many like actors, I mean, and Chris Martin from Coldplay is in Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah, he is.
So just the fact that there are so many actors.
Patty Considine is in a lot, if not all three, and no, at least two.
Yeah.
And as far as David Bradley from Game of Thrones also is in at least two. But I might.
I can't remember one of the actors from Harry Potter. He plays the keeper, like
it's David Bradley.
That's David Bradley. Okay, yeah. He's also, I know he for sure he's in Hot Fuzz and World's End. I don't know. I don't think he is in.
I don't think he's in Shaun of the Dead.
I don't think he's in Shaun of the Dead. But you're right. There is a core group of actors that kind of get brought back for all of these films. And it's a lot of fun. But so talking about Hot Fuzz, what are some of your initial thoughts on the film?
We were talking about progression and through all of them. So when we get to World's End, it'll be even more. But Edgar Wright has found a way through each one to make you care even more about the main characters as well, to give them a little bit more. I mean, because Shaun, you care about him and you kind of do get connected to that character, but at the same time, he's still kind of a caricature of a lot of things. And then you get to like Hot Fuzz, and this character is a little bit more grounded, where you're just like, oh, he's been through some stuff.
Yeah.
And then, when we get to World's End, we say there's definitely some deeper themes in that too. But like, you see that progression of like, oh, this is a character that has more of a backstory that we get introduced to.
Yeah, there's a lot more depth to Nicholas Angel than there is to Shaun.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's as much of a change between Ed and Danny. They're both kind of slackerish.
Yeah.
Slackerish.
At least Danny like spends pretty much all of his time wanting his father to be proud of him versus just not caring. But, yeah.
But you're right. I mean, when you look at the comparison between Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, in Simon's characters, Shaun is kind of a slacker, but he becomes motivated. Nicholas is kind of overachieving. Like it's a completely drastic change in the type of characters. And Nick Frost's character is kind of the one that's kind of, slackerish. He's there for the sidekick aspect of it. And you're right. When we get to World's End, there's an even bigger switch between these characters, which is another one of the things that I love, that I find brilliant about Edgar Wright's writing and directing of these films.
Yes.
So, but what are some of the other standout things about Hot Fuzz?
Let's see. So the things I noticed, I think is funny, is nobody in the village that he is in can say the name of London correctly. Anytime he's being talked to about London, they're Linden or London or London.
Yeah.
They always just over exaggerately, just like pronounce it incorrectly. And I think that's hilarious. One of those running jokes in that. It's almost like, oh, we're so tied into our weird little cult-like village bubble here that we don't even know this city of London. I don't know. What is this?
Well, it's funny too. And this is a common occurrence. This is something that's going to carry over into World's End when we get to that. But if you look at all of the characters that are in the village of that, all the people of Sanford, when you look at it's not easily recognizable, but when you look at their last names, all of their last names are actually they're words for occupations or activities. There's Cooper, Porter, Shooter, Prosser, Hatcher, Butcher, Skinner. Like they're all occupations. And there kind of is a running theme of that in World's End as well, which we'll get to when we get to that point. But one of my favorite things about World's End, and this is kind of one of the cool bits of trivia about this, I mentioned earlier, I kind of teased you a little bit about it, but the whole being in a theater with Edgar, Simon, and Nick. When I went to the screening of The World's End, I went to an advanced screening of The World's End in which they were there and watched the movie with us and did a Q&A. We got to watch Hot Fuzz beforehand. So we got to be in the theater with the three of them watching Hot Fuzz as well, which is such a cool opportunity.
Oh yeah.
One of the things I learned about Hot Fuzz at that time, which I didn't realize, and many people in the United States don't realize, because we don't have, it wasn't until maybe the past 5 to 10 years, we really started gaining access to BBC television.
Mm-hmm.
There was kind of a separation, with the exception of maybe Monty Python and Blackadder and some of the more really, really more popular BBC shows, Doctor Who. But a lot of the lesser popular ones never made their way here without BBC America. So one of the things that we learned from that Q&A, and he even was like, many people in the United States don't know this, every person who is a villain in Hot Fuzz has been a villain in another BBC property, which I thought was just so fantastic.
That is really creative and just brilliant, honestly, to think of something while casting something like that. I mean, make sure, because it adds to the subtlety, is of somebody who is aware of that, who's grown up watching a lot of this like BBC stuff, to be like, it's kind of this little subtle like hinting at like, these are the people who are the villains, who are part of this group, is because you see who they are, that they're people who are known for being villains here or there. It's a nice little hint. I do like that a lot.
Yeah, for sure. And I know I'm going into some of the trivia already before we kind of while we're still talking about everything. But one of my other favorite things about this too is the fact that both Simon and Edgar's their mothers are in the movie. They have very quick cameos towards the end of the movie when everything's gone to hell and they're chasing after all the townspeople. The three people that come to judge the village as they're standing in the street after everything's gone down, the banners falling behind them. The two women are actually Simon and Edgar's mother.
That's great.
But before I go into even more trivia, is there anything else about Hot Fuzz that kind of stands out to you that makes you like that you really pick up on about the movie?
Yeah, I've got a few. I still, one of the things that you talk about, quotes that to this day, still, anytime anybody says the greater good, I reply with the greater good.
I do too. Anytime anybody says it's for the greater good, I automatically, the greater good.
Greater good. Yep. Yeah. It's just every time, the greater good.
Yeah. You can't help but not. If you're a fan of Hot Fuzz, you can't help but not do that.
Yeah.
Because it's done so many times in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Even in like the same scene, they'll do it like 2 or 3 times. Yeah. It's like, oh my God, we get it.
Even to the point where Nicholas is like, shut up.
Yeah. But then the through line of the goose is hilarious.
Yeah.
Which that's Stephen Merchant that sends them on that.
Yes, it is.
So of that, because he was, of course, heavily involved in the UK office with
Martin Freeman.
So yeah.
And I love the fact that like Nicholas is so used to things being so citywide and so populous that when he gets the phone call for the goose and he's like, can I get your name? He's like, P.S. Taker, piss taker. I get it. And thinks it's a joke. And that's really the guy's name.
Yeah. It like cuts to like, all right, so Mr. Taker, how are you? Like,
and it's so funny in that goose, in the running joke of the goose too, which definitely comes up, and actually is an element of the ending of the movie. Weirdly enough, every once in a while, like you mentioned, how like every time somebody mentions the greater good, you have to repeat the greater good. I don't know. It's so stupid. I don't know why I do it. But if I'm like at a zoo or I'm at a park and I see a goose or a swan, I always go honk, because that's what Danny does when he's trying to call the goose. It's so stupid. And to see him do it and then watch Nicholas kind of like look at him like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
It's so brilliant.
And then the Hound from Game of Thrones, talking about that. Rory McCann.
another line that I quote a lot.
Yarp. And then following up, just the look on Simon Pegg's face as he's trying to decide, like, is this going to work? Narp.
It's, oh my God. Yeah. And weirdly enough, before I even started watching Game of Thrones, I recognized him the moment he popped up in Game of Thrones because of Hot Fuzz, which usually doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It was usually the other way around. I think one of the other cool things that's kind of running throughout this movie that I really love is every time it happens, in particular with Timothy Dalton's character. Anytime he appears on scene after a murder has happened, there's a song playing in the background, and it always has something to do with how the person was murdered. I can't remember when he drives up to the accident scene. I can't remember the song that's on the radio, but I know the murder before that, when the house explodes and the guy is killed in the explosion, the song that's in the background is Fire. And then I can't remember for the life of me what the song was in the car. Oh well, I can't remember it. But the fact that Edgar puts in so many running jokes, not necessarily jokes, but themes.
Yes.
Throughout everything. I mean, we talked about Cornetto, and the reason why it's called Cornetto, because of Cornetto ice cream being involved in all of it. There is the Cornetto ice cream that he is eating. They're eating a different flavor of Cornetto in every movie.
Yeah.
In the first one, it's chocolate, which has a red wrapper, and the red wrapper is representative of the blood and gore from Shaun of the Dead. In Hot Fuzz, it's vanilla, which has a blue wrapper, and the blue is representative of police.
Yeah.
One of the other running themes throughout, it's very prominent in Shaun of the Dead. It's less prominent in Hot Fuzz, and it's almost very easy to miss in World's End. In Shaun of the Dead, that machine, the coin machine that Ed plays when he asks for the coin, the music that like that the machine puts out is very prominent in Shaun of the Dead because it's what attracts the zombies. In Hot Fuzz, when they're confronting Danny's father, the machine is in the building, it's in the pub, and you can hear it in the background. In World's End, when we get to World's End, I'll describe where it is, but it's very easily missed. But I remember being in that theater with so many Edgar Wright fans. The moment it popped up, everybody in the theater heard it. You couldn't get it past a theater full of fans because we all cheered when we heard it, because we knew it was something we knew he was going to put in there somewhere. Yeah. But we just didn't know where it was going to be. So when we heard it, we kind of freaked out, which was cool. But what are some of the other themes or favorite moments, quotes?
Yeah, I love it's like a double misdirection.
Yes.
Throughout it, because the whole time, I mean, obviously they're setting up that Skinner is going to be, is that was his name? Or no, maybe not, but Timothy Dalton's
Skinner. Yeah, you're right. Yep.
Yeah. The setting up that he's the killer. And even with with the music and him pulling up and always just happening to be there. And then you get that scene where he pulls up the leg and he's like, but there's no cut or whatever. And then they have that it must be other people. And then you realize, it's the whole town. It's it's all this big conspiracy because you're taking out people who are challenging you, this, and that. And then they hit you with a double misdirective. No, there's absolutely no real evil plot at all. It's just these people who are so caught up in making the town seem so pretty that they just kill anyone who doesn't go along with their perfect. But there's no because he puts all the newspaper clippings. He's it's a conspiracy because this person was trying to buy this plot of land, and so you took this person out, and they're all I didn't even think about that. Yeah. No, it's just I didn't like the gold statue guy, so I got rid of him.
It's they're villains who don't realize they're villains because they're going through, they feel like in their own minds they have the best of intentions. They're just going about it the complete wrong way. Yeah. And that's kind of a continuing theme in The World's End as well. Yeah. Because just on a much bigger scale. But like when you think about it too, when you look at Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz and, World's End, that is an overarching theme as well, is that like it's two guys against almost the whole fucking world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Hot Fuzz is kind of toned down. It's just a town instead of the world. But Shaun of the Dead, they're facing an entire zombie apocalypse. Yeah. And World's End, we'll get to that. But they're facing a worldwide thing.
Yeah.
That you don't realize is worldwide. So, but yeah, I mean, you're right. The double, and when you look at the double, what did you call it?
Misdirection.
Double misdirection. Yeah. That kind of plays out with Danny's character as well. Mm-hmm. Is that when he's facing the townspeople at the end, and then Danny comes in and grabs him. And you're kind of like, no, like not fucking Danny. Like Danny's not involved in this either.
Yeah, where he stabs him and then kind of away, and then it's the return of the catch-up trick. And
from Shaun of the Dead.
He put the notepad in his shirt pocket purposely so he knew that when he stabbed through it, that he wouldn't hurt him.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's just God, like it. When we get to listing these 5 films in order, it's gonna be too tough. Yeah. It's really going to be hard. Pake and I were talking about this to all of our listeners out there. We talked about this. We don't know.
Yeah, I still don't know where I'm at. I feel like I could just take the 5 of them and just shuffle them in any random order and read them out and be like, yeah, that's good. That works.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Anything else you want to mention about the movie before I mention a couple other trivia things and we move on?
I think that's all I have.
Okay. Just a couple trivia things here. I did mention, obviously, everybody who was cast in the movie has played a villain at some point in another BBC property. Simon and Edgar's mothers do appear in the film. The film was actually shot in Edgar's hometown. That was something I thought was really cool. He wanted to bring the movie home. And apparently there's over in Britain, there was a big church or cathedral in the town that they actually had to take out of the movie because in order for, if I remember this correctly, I might not be remembering it correctly, but in order for a town, there's a difference between a village, which is what Sanford was, mm-hmm. and a town, and the cathedral was the difference. So in order for it to be believable as a village, they had to take the cathedral out of the movie. Mm-hmm. Like they filmed the church, but they couldn't film the cathedral. So they kind of had to take that out, either CG it out of the background or just film around it where they didn't get it on screen. Nick Frost and Simon Pegg were often assumed to be real police officers. Often during the filming, many strangers asked them for directions. And instead of telling them the truth that they weren't, they went along with it. And it kind of made them feel powerful.
Yeah, I believe that they would do that. Yeah,
I believe that too. Let's see. I mentioned the cameos from Cate Blanchett and Peter Jackson. I mentioned the names of the people. The DVD. This is something I noticed on my own. The DVD of Shaun of the Dead is actually in the movie. In the scene where they are in the supermarket and and Nicholas starts chasing the shoplifter. Yeah. There's the scene with Danny and he's reading Super Cop, the DVD. Mm-hmm. When he sees Nicholas run by, when he throws Super Cop back in the bin, the DVD on top is Shaun of the Dead.
Nice.
It's just that it has a different title because they obviously couldn't use the title. It's the same cover of the DVD, except it's called Zombie Party.
Oh, nice.
Which I
figured it might be in Danny's like wide movie museum.
No, that's all action movies.
Yeah, but that's all.
But funny enough, Nick Frost actually did have to watch a lot of action movies before it. Mm-hmm. And Simon Pegg did go through a lot of training. In the opening scene where they're doing all his accolades and you see him doing the bike skid, that's actually him.
Nice.
He was actually trained to do it. A lot of other tidbits about the movie, but we don't really have time to get into all of them. Instead, we're going to move on to the third movie. And this is the one I'm really excited to talk to you about. And I'm really going to turn it over to you for a lot of this one, because when it comes to all 5 of these movies, it can be argued, when it comes to 4 out of 5 of these movies, it can be argued who is the bigger fan between the two of us. When it comes to Scott Pilgrim versus the World, I don't think there's a question. I am a huge fan of this movie. I have not met a bigger fan until I met you. I firmly bow to fandom.
Oh yeah, this movie. Scott Pilgrim versus the World is my favorite movie of all time, like number one. If you ask me what my favorite movie is, it's Scott Pilgrim. I've seen it so many times. There's absolutely no way of counting.
But it's taking a break from the Cornetto trilogy. We're wrapping that up in the next movie, but the next film in progression, Scott Pilgrim versus the World from 2010. No Simon Pegg, no Nick Frost, but another killer cast. Michael Cera, Mary Elizabeth Winstead, Anna Kendrick, my personal favorite, Aubrey Plaza, Alison Pill, Jason Schwartzman. So many people in this movie. Tell me, obviously, and written and directed by Edgar Wright. Edgar Wright wrote the screenplay for the film. Tell me why this movie is your favorite movie of all time. What does this movie mean to you?
It is just the culmination of like all of the things that I really love. Like, it's just this mix of awesome things. It is video games, pop culture, music culture, comedy, superhero tropes, all of these things, like the over the top action with like, I'm not a fan of anime, but like you could even attribute, like there's a lot of that kind of like very anime, Japanese kind of style in it. Like it just kind of has everything you could imagine that it could have in it with these genres. And it just, it's a love letter to any kind of over the top action genre, but also underground pop culture, whether it's these indie bands playing Battle of the Bands in clubs and, punk rock music and electronic music and all of it. And it's just, I'm a huge music guy. I mean, I've played in bands. I am a record collector. I have all these things with music. And again, I love playing video games, pop culture stuff. I mean, that's what I do with podcasting for, the big, pop culture nerd. And so it's just the meeting of all of these worlds. This movie just happens to cover it perfectly among all of those. It just runs the gamut.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. Again, like I am to say that I bow to you as far as who's the bigger fan. That's not to say at all I'm not a huge fan of this movie. You and I basically have had entire conversations just quoting Scott Pilgrim versus the World. When our friend Mark over on his podcast, Panels to Pixels, covered it, and Steve was the host of it, he brought you and I on, and you and I pretty much took over that episode of the podcast.
Yeah.
And you and I were kind of like, we didn't even touch on half the stuff we wanted to touch on that because it would go longer than the movie ran. So yeah, I'm with you on that. You're right. It covers so many different elements of pop culture, so many things that I love as well, that I think you hit it perfectly. I really don't think I can add anything else to it as to reasons why I love the movie.
Yeah.
As of all of Edgar's movies so far in the conversation, it is definitely the most quotable. I think it is out of all 5, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think there are so many quotable lines from the movie. And it kind of breaks. It definitely is still the progression of Edgar's filmmaking and directing, but it kind of breaks a little bit because it's new characters. It's new. It was new exploration for Edgar to do this kind of a movie because it was a breakaway from what he had done before, and it was new to him to do that.
Yeah, it's more an American audience, even though the film takes place in Canada, but it is his first geared towards an American audience.
And I think the one thing that really hurt about that too was the fact that because of the fact that Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz were kind of underground, they were British films that were kind of underground in the US at the time. They didn't get theatrical releases in the US. They were found more after post-release from DVD and such. Scott Pilgrim versus the World was Edgar's, like you mentioned, it was made for US audiences. It was made in the United States with American actors. This was his first foray into a United States, into an American picture that got a theatrical release. But because of the fact that Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz were so underground in the United States at that time, it didn't do well in theaters.
Yeah.
It found more of a cult following, very similar to Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz, found a cult following afterwards.
Yeah.
But now, because of the success of Scott Pilgrim versus the World and the cult following that it has, anything Edgar did since Scott Pilgrim got noticed.
Yeah.
From World's End to
World's
Baby
End
Driver.
being that, back to the British style and, Cornetto trilogy, I saw that opening night in theaters here in America.
Yeah.
Like I got a chance to go do that. So yeah.
Yeah, because Scott Pilgrim, I as much as I love the movie, I did not see it in theaters. I found it later.
Yeah, I don't think I got a chance to see it in theaters. Even though you said it did have a release, but it was still very under the radar. And so I don't think I did, which is kind of sad because like looking back at it, I was like, man, I should have been able to see that in theaters. That's something that I wish I could always just go back and be like, oh, my fandom would be perfect, would be complete if I would have been in the theater showing.
Well, I've
seen it so many times to make up for it after. So
exactly, and very recently they did the anniversary edition that they did release in theaters, kind of at the tail end of when, at the very beginning of when things were starting to open back up from this pandemic we're still recovering from. It was indeed the first theater experience I had in a year and a half.
Yeah,
was going back to theater. Well, not going back to theaters to see Scott Pilgrim. Going back to theaters, but to see Scott Pilgrim in theaters for the first time.
Yeah.
So it was, it's an amazing movie, that definitely stands out among all five of them. I know when we get to listing them for the top five, like there's no doubt in my mind, Scott Pilgrim is number one.
Yeah.
If it's your favorite movie of all time, why would it not be number one on a list of five movies? That just doesn't make sense. The other four for you are kind of throw them up in the air and see which order they land.
Exactly.
And me, I'm just throwing all five in there and seeing which order they land. Here's where it's going to get interesting. What are some of your favorite moments and quotes from the movie?
So do we have 2 hours just to spend on that section?
Exactly.
God, there's so many that it's hard to like find a place to start because you're like, I could just go on and on. But like, of course, the first one's like, man. Yeah, it's hard. So many of the Battle of the Band stuff. Yeah. It's not a race, guys.
It's got Kieran Culkin.
Kieran Culkin is great.
Kind of flew under my radar a little bit. I'd seen him in other projects before Scott Pilgrim, but it wasn't until Scott Pilgrim that I was like, this guy is fucking funny.
Yeah, like Wallace has so many of the best lines. What a perfect asshole. Like there's just so do these guys suck? They have not started
playing yet.
It's a test. Fast. Yeah. It's a test, Jimmy. Yeah. It's so great. This song goes out to the guy who just yelled at us from the balcony. It's called We Hate You, Please Die. Yeah.
Right. I love this one. Like you're right. Like, and that's one of my favorites. That is one of my favorite Wallace Wells lines is it's not a race, guys. Yeah. Like there's so many quotable lines in this
movie. Crash and the boys. Is that girl a boy too? Like, man.
There's and I think every character in the movie at some point has a line that's quotable.
Oh yeah. I mean Brandon Routh is.
Oh, Brandon Routh's.
The whole vegan police thing is one of the most fun to quote among us and our friend group and other people who are fans of it that we talk to. You know?
We've gotten friends of ours turned on to this movie who had never seen it before. Our friend Jerry, who's been on this podcast, and I'm not sure if he's been on Run for Your Lives with you guys yet, but
not yet.
He was on the Car Chase. He was my host for the Car Chase podcast. You and I got him to watch Scott Pilgrim, and now he constantly is saying, "Chicken isn't vegan."
You knowingly ingested some gelato. It's like, gelato isn't vegan?
Milk and eggs, bitch.
Yeah.
And one of the other things I love about the movie too is it's it's so hard to talk about this movie and not geek out, like to go into like I broke into what I was saying, but it's so hard to talk about this movie and just not geek out for an hour about this movie. We're kind of reeling it in a little bit. But one of the other things I love about the movie too is it's a very early start for a number of actors.
Yeah.
Who have since become huge.
Mm-hmm.
Like Michael Cera's kind of plateaued. He's still, but Brandon Routh went on to become Superman, and then Adam, like he's moved on.
Brie Larson.
Brie Larson is Captain Marvel now.
Chris Evans
became Captain America.
Yeah.
It's so many people became so much bigger, not necessarily because of this movie, but
it's a good stepping stone.
It was a good stepping stone. Aubrey Plaza. I think this was actually
to do Parks and Rec.
Well, no, I think Parks and Rec was actually already
kind of
going
in tandem. Yeah.
I think this was kind of in between.
Anna Kendrick, her career blew up a little bit after this came out.
Yeah, exactly. It's just
so Jason Schwartzman had been doing Wes Anderson movies forever before this. So I mean,
and not only that, but he was in. Oh, what's the name of the band he was in? Oh God, Phantom Planet.
Yeah.
Phantom Planet. Yep. So he had a musical career before he got into acting.
Yeah.
And he's so good in the movie. Mm-hmm. As Gideon Graves, like he's so good.
Yes. His has a way of getting into my head.
No, literally he has a way of. Yeah. That's evil. God, we could quote this movie all day.
Yeah.
So probably a good idea if we move on at this point, because otherwise we're just going to sit and quote. And quote it for the rest of the night. But you're right. It's a love letter to pop culture. It's like and everything from music to to video games. It's just
bad.
Solo round. Let's move on.
Yes.
We still have two more movies to talk about and a quick documentary discussion before we go on. But let's talk about the conclusion of the Cornetto trilogy. And that is from 2013, The World's End, directed by Edgar Wright, written again by Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright. Again, starring Simon Pegg and Nick Frost, with Martin Freeman, Rosamund Pike, Thomas Law, David Bradley, had you mentioned Pierce Brosnan, the other James Bond actor that we mentioned in this before. What are your thoughts on this movie? Because I love this movie so fucking much. I really do.
It's great. And again, I talked about the progression of the deepness of the characters.
Yeah.
So with this one, it's where they get the most deep, where like it actually hits you emotionally for a minute, is when you get the big reveal. Because I know at the beginning of this, like, we might have spoilers. No, we're going very spoilers. But we get that reveal, like what happened between Andy and Gary that like caused this big rift. And then you find out like Gary King basically broke out of rehab to make this trip happen. And he's had, drug addiction problems, and he's been doing all, through rehab. And the reason him and Andy don't speak anymore is what I guess pushed him towards going the rehab route and everything. He's been doing it for a little while. Is this time where Andy found him OD'd. And as he was like rushing to the hospital to save him, he got into an accident, flipped the car. Gary just like miraculously awoke and ran off, leaving Andy to face all of the legal and mental, issues with all of that. To where now Andy has gotten clean and sober. He doesn't drink anymore. He's gone through all this stuff just for Gary to show back up and like try dragging him back down this hole of his own depression. And like to see that theme in it and be like, that's actually really deep and dark.
Well, they flip the roles in this one.
Yeah.
Where in Shaun of the Dead, where, Shaun is the one he's got a job. He's working as best as he can. He's trying to keep his life straight as best as possible. He's failing at it a little bit, but he's trying. And Ed is kind of the fuck up. Mm-hmm. This one completely flips the script and it switches the roles. Gary is the one who's the fuck up. And Andy is the one who's got his life together and everything. So it's fun to see them play with that dynamic. And it was also kind of comforting to see like, okay, Simon's the lead guy, Nick's the sidekick. It kind of still plays out that way because Simon is the main character and Nick as Andy is kind of a secondary, but it's kind of not in this one, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because Gary would never accomplish anything without, to quote the Beatles, a little help from his friends.
Yeah.
So he absolutely needs that. And yeah, it's cool. You say it's the complete opposite character of Nicholas Angel for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah, to see him go from that extreme of a dynamic from a overachieving police officer to a guy who is in rehab, like it's a big twist. Yeah, it's a huge difference, but it's one of the reasons why I've grown to really like Simon Pegg as an actor, is because he can show that range. It's still comedic range, but he can still show it. Yeah, at the same time, which I've become a huge fan of his, and all of them, and Nick's too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, dark humor. There's more dark humor. I mean, he has lots of dark humor in the other Cornetto movies and even Scott Pilgrim, but with this one, the whole thing, like using my mom just died as an excuse for to get the guys to come out with him, and then while he's in the bathroom, there's a phone call from the mom, and they're like, oh, he lied to us, how dare you? And then you just find out later at the end of the movie, like, oh yeah, by the way, his mom also died in all this, and it's meant as a joke. Like, oh my god. Yeah, exactly.
One of the things that I had mentioned earlier on in the episode, I'll get to the Cornetto element in a minute, and there's another running gag that we haven't even mentioned yet, and that's the fence.
I've been thinking about that, but I wanted to wait, till this.
I wanted to wait till this one too, because it's another running gag. It was another one of those things that when it happened in this movie, when we saw it in theaters, we were like, yes, like we were waiting for it, and it happened. Because in Shaun of the Dead, Shaun actually achieves it. He jumps the fence into the yards. We see him jumping over the fences. In Hot Fuzz, it's left to Nick Frost's character. We see Nicholas jump over the fences, but Danny just runs through them because he can't do it. And in The World's End, Gary attempts it, leaps on the fence, and the whole fence just falls. And it's just, oh no. And it just, he lands and it cuts. Yeah. Like we don't see anything after that. It just cuts away from the scene, which is brilliant. But, in Hot Fuzz, I mentioned the names and how the last names of all the people were occupations or activities. Yeah. The last names of these 5 characters play the same role. Gary King is a very obvious one. He is meant to be the leader of this group when he was younger. He's the king. But when you look at the last names of the other characters that are really only mentioned in the beginning of the movie, you've got Andy Knightley. So there's the knight of the council. You've got Stephen Prince. He's the prince that goes along with it. Peter Page, he's a page in the kingdom, and you've got Oliver Chamberlain, who a chamberlain or a chambermaid is. All of them share last names of characters from medieval times. Yeah, which is a cool theme. Again, yeah, for sure. Edgar taking the names and making them part of the structure of the film, which I think is just it's so damn. It's so brilliant. It really shows smart. That right there. It shows the relationship between those characters too. Exactly, because Andy, it's kind of the king who he's put himself in charge of the king leader, but the knight is there to defend him even whenever he's not very defensive. The prince, because Stephen is his. They played in bands together, and that's like his go-to special boy. Like that's his friend. He said Peter Page, kind of the underling, kind of the, and he was the nerdy kind of guy that got picked on all the time, and they would be there to defend him, but they would give him shit also all the time himself. And then with the Chamberlain, I mean, he's there to clean up the mess. Yeah, exactly. Their last names play kind of, they show their specific role in this group of 5 people, which if you're not, it's something that if you're aficionado of film like we are, when you're fans of films and you're a fan of a specific director, these are themes that you will pick up on as you're watching. But if you're not, there's something that are very easy to overlook. Yeah. And then once you pick up on them, it's like, wow, that's amazing. Like that works out. Yeah. When I mentioned Cornetto, Cornetto is it's again, the music of the coin machine and cornetto are very quick.
Yeah.
In this movie, there is
this
no
one's very quick. There's no ice cream. It's just the wrapper.
It's just the wrapper. Yeah. Exactly. It's at the end after the world shuts down, and you see you hear Andy's monologue, and you see him on the fence. The wind just blows the wrapper up against the fence, and then it blows away. But it had to be in there.
Yeah.
And it's green this time of mint chocolate chip, because mint chocolate chip, if I remember correctly, is just it's out of ordinary.
Mm-hmm.
It's random. It's a mix of different things, which is very kind of what this movie is as well.
Mm-hmm.
So there's one other thing. There's the one thing that I mentioned that Edgar Wright told us during that Q&A. But I'm going to save that because I'm going to see if you do know about it. And if not, I'm hoping to kind of like drop your jaw a little bit. But what are some of your favorite things about this movie?
Man, just a lot of the things that have to do with the robots, or the blanks as they end up calling them, because they can't, which that in itself is so funny.
They don't know what to call them.
So much time trying to decide what they call them. And so they're like, as a placeholder, they're like, like if we said like, oh my God, there's so many blanks around here, what's going to fit in that? And they keep doing it so much that they're like, blanks is what we're going with. And then it ends up becoming a societal thing, which again ties up to kind of like Shaun of the Dead, as we see that like the blanks are still part of society and stuff afterwards too. Even after, the robot alien overlords voiced by Bill Nye, that's how he's in this movie as well.
Yes, he is.
After they leave and kind of just blow everything up and all technology is gone, but like the blanks that are still there end up being used again for kind of going back and doing their own thing, but they're kind of the, shunned outsiders of society. There becomes this whole like almost like a race kind of thing, a race war between blanks and humans. It's a really interesting concept.
Well, and I think what's even to kind of tack on to that too, I think what's one of the really interesting concepts about that is you don't really realize, like throughout the movie, you're kind of led to believe that these blanks are the villains of the movie. Like the robots are blanks or whatever you want to call them. They're the ones that are attacking them. They're chasing them throughout the movie. So you're kind of led to believe that they're the villains. And then by the end of the movie, it's kind of like that double, whatever you called it.
Mm-hmm.
What did you call it earlier?
Like a misdirection, like a double
misdirection. That's it. So I don't know why I'm forgetting that word. It's kind of like another misdirection in that you find out it's not the blanks who are the ones they're literally just doing what they're told.
Yeah.
They're following orders. It's these alien overlords that are the ones that are really responsible for everything that's going on. And then when the alien overlords go away and the
which is the most like just unceremonious, like
it is.
He's like, fuck it.
I don't know what's even better about that scene. I don't know if my favorite thing about that scene is how unceremonious it is, or it's the fact that we get to hear Bill Nye say, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like it's because he's such a beloved British actor.
Yeah.
To hear him say, fuck it. It's so great. But then like all these blanks are kind of left behind to fend for themselves and live amongst everybody else. When they were really just doing what they're told, because we do find out in the movie that these blanks not only have the look of some of these people, they also have their memories. Yeah. So many of them probably think they actually are the person that they replaced. That's what their purpose is. They're meant to believe they're the person they replaced. But they do still have that knowledge that they're not.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. It's kind of confusing.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things that come up with these blanks that I think is really fun. Of course, they just kind of overlook the fact that hang on, cut that around. I just like blanked in a place that I shouldn't. We do see that some of the people that we know have been taken over. Oliver being like the main one. I should know. Oh man.
Man.
Which how they really, I love that how they know is because Oh man, the Omen. It has this creepy
scar.
scar. And so that's how they know that he's a blank, is the scar is there because it's like reverted back because he had laser surgery to get it removed. So there's like that little storyline. I think that's really cool. They're like, the scar's still there. So that's how they know. But then they just like really go over the fact. He's like, what happened to my brother? And it's just like, we'll tell you later. Cause like, how well does that conversation go? Like, oh yeah, he was ground up into compost. He's gone forever now. Like, but
they kind of glance over that. They're like, oh yeah, he's gone now. He's not coming back.
I mean, you have this like robot version of him with the top half of his head missing. If that's anything for you, he's still here.
Which is kind of a shame because at one point, Pierce Brosnan's character, they knock his head off, they destroy his head, but yet he comes back in later, like new. Like
those kids, the teenagers, whatever, that they beat up in the bathroom the first time they encounter the robots. They come back like 3 or 4 different times throughout the movie.
So it's almost like, well, if you would have waited just a little bit longer, he probably would have come back with a new head. Yeah. Like they would have sent him back in with a new head. But, it's right as shit is about to really hit the fan in the movie. I think one of my favorite things in the movie is that like they're trapped in this town. Like, I'm sorry, if I was in that situation, I don't care if the buses were running or not. I'd walk out of town.
Right.
I'm not completing a bar crawl. But I just love that these people.
Yeah, their whole reasoning though is like, well, they're going to think it's weird if we don't finish it now.
Exactly. I love that logic. Like, wait, if we don't finish it, they're going to think we're not one of them. So we just need to finish the beer crawl. Like
they'll know we're onto something.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to look conspicuous if we don't do this.
Yeah. Now, knowing that Gary is like such like a addict and drunk, maybe it's not the best takeaway from this movie. That's what it's meant. But what it really makes me want to do is attempt a pub crawl like this.
Yes, I do too. I want to do the Golden Mile.
Yes.
I will probably die, but I want to do the Golden Mile.
Yeah, because I was like, 12 pints doesn't sound that bad. Because I can sit there and drink 3, 4, maybe 5 in one night with people. But then
it depends on what I'm drinking.
That's spaced out over like hours and hours too. And then I was like, oh God, but just to do them, knock them out like that 12 in a row. And after like, yeah, that might be a little difficult.
Well, it also depends on what I'm drinking. Like if I'm drinking actual beer, it's dangerous to do 12 pubs in a row. If I'm drinking, and I apologize for anybody out there who's a fan of this. If I'm drinking like Miller Lite or Coors Light,
beer, yes,
I could do the Golden Mile very easily.
Because I know people who could drink a 24, 30 pack.
That's not, it's not beer.
Yeah.
That's not beer.
Yeah, but so I'm thinking, go get like a pint glass from my local brewery that I go to every week.
Yeah.
And it's like I can spend, I'll go up there and spend 5 or 6 hours in a night and hang out with friends up there and go through like 4 or 5 of them. But I was like, to do 12 back to back to back, I can see how that's definitely a challenge.
If I stretched it out over an entire day rather than a night, like if I started around like noon and I stretched it out until about bar closing time, I could probably do it. It would still hurt with real beer, but I could probably do it. If I had to do it in the short amount of time that they do it, it would have to be like Miller Lite or Coors.
Yeah.
It'd be the only way I could do it because again, like you said, I could drink a 6-pack of that and be completely fine.
Yeah.
Because it's not actual beer. I apologize for anybody who thinks differently. Any other things kind of stick out to you, like quotes or favorite scenes before I dive into this this thing?
I'm sure there's many other things I could talk about. Nothing's coming to me directly. So
one of the other themes I love that goes through all 3 of these Cornetto films is the apex of the ending of the movie always starts at the pub. In Shaun of the Dead, it starts in the Winchester. That's when it starts to get really bad. Yeah. In Hot Fuzz, when they're confronting Danny's father, they're in the pub. And in The World's End, when Andy finally loses his shit, And in my opinion, one of the coolest fight scenes of any of these 3 films, when Andy like rips his shirt and just says, "I fucking hate this town," and grabs the bar stools as like Hulk hands and just starts swinging them around as like wooden fists. Like that is, I love that scene so much.
Yeah. And I love the fight choreography.
Yeah.
In this movie, a lot of them do, but like Nick Frost really stands out.
Yeah.
In his like martial arts fight choreography, which makes me wonder.
Into the Badlands.
He was in Into the Badlands, but that was after this, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
So it's like, I wonder if they cast him in that after seeing this movie and being like, oh, he's got some skills. Maybe he could be trained more. I don't know. But because it made me think that it's like, I know that Into the Badlands was after World's End, but like I'm seeing that he's got some fight choreography skill for sure.
Well, also look at the fact that this movie was very shortly followed up after Scott Pilgrim versus the World. Mm-hmm. So Edgar was very clearly taking what he learned in fight choreography, in which there's quite a bit in Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
He took those lessons that he learned and he brought them with him to World's End, because you're right. Nick Frost really stands out in the choreography, in particular that bar scene. But you mentioned it earlier, that bathroom scene with Gary and the teenagers in the bathroom. There's some really amazing fight choreography in there too.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And when you throw in the bar scene with Nick Frost, Simon himself has some really cool choreography because he's moving fists and blocking fists while holding a beer in his hand.
Yeah, I love that. Where every time he goes to take a sip, it gets knocked and spilled more. And like, fuck!
And then it gets to the point like every time he saves a little bit of it so that he can drink it until the glass finally breaks and he's just like, fuck! Like it's so I love it. Man, I'm telling you, like there's so many great things. I think. Before I go into this other thing too that we learned from Edgar, and then we're gonna move into the final movie of the 5. One of my other favorite scenes in the movie too is when he's trying to impress the sister, Rosamund Pike's character. Why can't I remember her name? Sam.
Yeah.
When they're leaving and they're on the roof of the bar and she's like, we can climb down the drain pipe. And he's like, no, I got a better idea. And he just jumps off the roof and and the very next scene is her looking over and he's like, climb down the drain pipe.
Yeah.
Like it's so funny. But this is I saved this for last about the World's End, because this is very honestly one of my favorite things about this movie. There's 2 really cool things about this movie, and they both relate to the pubs. The pubs have a specific meaning in the movie. For starters, the pubs, every pub they go to, the number on the Golden Mile is hidden somewhere in the background. Whether it's like a 2 for like a $2 draft or 11 for the time that the bar like happy hour starts, the number, with the exception of 12, the World's End, the 12 is very clearly sitting on the table in front of the beer. But 1 through 11 can be found in the background of every scene of every pub they go to.
That's cool.
But this is the part where the names of the pubs actually illustrate the progression of the movie. The first pub is called The First Post.
Yeah.
Speaks for itself. It's the first bar on the list and the checkpoint that they start at. Pub 2, The Old Familiar. When they enter the second bar, there's a joke about how it's Starbucked. The Old Familiar, it looks exactly like
it was the same set. They just walked into the same room again. Yeah.
Exactly. But that's why it's called The Old Familiars, because it looks exactly like the first bar. Pub 3, The Famous Cock. This is the one that we find out that Gary was banned from. So he is in essence the famous cock. He was banned from the bar for being a dick.
Yep.
Bar number 4, the cross hands. This is the first pub where they actually learn. This is where they fight the kids in the bathroom. So this is where they're actually working together for the first time in that fight scene, hence the cross hands.
Yeah.
Bar 5, The Good Companion. this is where they're acting. This is where they decide that they're going to play along with everything. So in essence, they're being the good companions of everything, of everybody in the town. They're not going to start any trouble. They're going to play along, hence good companions. Bar number 6, the trusty servant. This is where they find out that there are humans still among them who are serving these people. Bradley's character being the one, he is the trusty servant that they meet. Number 7, the two-headed dog. This is where he fights the twins. Yeah. So they are the two-headed dog. Number 8, the mermaid. This is where they meet the marmalade sandwich, who are in essence sirens or mermaids who call them in. Number 9, the beehive. This is where they fight. This is the famous, I fucking hate this town. They fighting. Get swarmed. They get swarmed from the beehive. Number 10, the king's head. This is the one where Gary finally cracks. And he decides he has to finish the Golden Mile, even though everybody else wants to leave. He's gotten in his head. He has to figure it out. Number 11, this is my favorite one, the hole in the wall. That's literally because Martin crashes the car through the hole in the wall. And number 12, obviously the world's end. And that's the one that they finally reach where the world finally ends because of everything that they do. So all 12, the names of all 12 pubs correlate to the story.
That's awesome.
Which I think is really, really cool. So, but that moves on to the 5th movie of the 5 we're going to talk about, and then we'll spend a couple minutes on the Sparks Brothers as well. But that leads us into Baby Driver, 2017, directed and written by Edgar Wright. Again, an amazing fucking cast. In this movie. Ansel Elgort, John Bernthal, Eliza Gonzalez, John Hamm, Lily James, Kevin Spacey. Flea, Jamie Foxx. It's incredible. I'm going to turn it to you to kick us off on this one, because I know this is another one we are both huge fans of.
It's because I just recently covered this movie on Adrenaline Cinema with our friend Mark Kirkman, and so I love this movie. It's kind of, as the music fan, that's a big reason I love Scott Pilgrim. This movie like scratches that itch a lot too, because it's one long music video. Like you said, imagine the scene in Shaun of the Dead where they're whacking the bartender with the pool cues to "Don't Stop Me Now," but then make it an entire movie with car chases and gunfights and people running around and attacking each other, and have it all set to the music of, I mean, there's a Queen song in this one too, but then, or Tequila, or, Bell Bottoms. It was a great opening.
God, what is the name of the
John
Queen?
Spencer Blues Explosion there?
No, the Queen song is,
oh man.
I know I want to say like something rock or, God, it's not Bohemian Rhapsody. I know that. It's something rock, and I can't remember the name of it for some reason. I just brought it up when I talked about it in the last episode of Wilhelm when we talked movie soundtracks. Brighton Rock.
Brighton Rock, yeah.
Brighton Beach Rock or Brighton Rock. I can't remember. It's that, yeah.
Brighton Rock. And then, but even Bob and Earl's Harlem Shuffle.
Oh, God.
That whole scene where like lyrics to the song are like popping up in like graffiti or posters and stuff on light posts and stuff as he's like walking around, and like stops and does the little trumpet solo with all of it. It's just down to a T, because I love the actors in this movie. For all their scenes had earbuds in. They would have little earpieces that would play the music for the scene, so they knew how to stay in time with the choreography of the movie.
Well, and that was very easy with Ansel too, because his character wore earphones for most of the movie.
Yeah, and Ansel Elgort has a taste for it anyway. He's a classically trained ballet dancer, so the choreography and stuff he's good with, and he's also a musician. I've listened to his music and stuff. His stuff on Spotify. I definitely
have to check that out.
Checking it out.
I didn't know that.
A great musician. So he's already very music and choreography minded. So Ansel Elgort was like the best casting for Baby I think they could have possibly done.
Yeah, I agree with that. And you're right. Like I remember when I went to theaters to see it, like I was already sold on the movie that I wanted to see it from the trailer. And I went to see it opening weekend. And I remember, sitting in theaters and going to see it. And I went with a friend of mine from college. We were both in agreement that we both really wanted to see this movie. So we met up to go see this movie in theaters. And the opening with bell bottoms was enough to sell me on the movie.
I still find myself just randomly going, just like the way with the windshield wipers.
But the next scene when he goes to get the coffee for everyone, and you're right, like all the graffiti in the background and everything, like it was the opening scene with bell bottoms was, I remember thinking like, okay, that was awesome. And then the next scene with him getting the coffee and the mute everything to the music, that was when I realized I'm like, this movie's not just awesome. This movie's brilliant.
Yeah.
Like it's honestly like this is brilliant filmmaking. And I was so, I went through a phase where the movie was kind of hard to watch, mainly because of everything that happened with Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
But I've gotten over that since, because not over the
what Kevin Spacey did.
Yes.
But no, I know what you're talking about is being able to look past it enough to be like, you know what? Yeah, Kevin Spacey is an evil, horrible scumbag. But that's not going to keep me from loving this movie and everything that everybody put into this thing.
Exactly. I'm not going to let the actions of one person ruin my love for one film, because everybody else put in an effort to make this movie incredible.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm like you said, I'm able to look past it, which I've been able to enjoy the movie again, which is good. Out of all the cast, I mean, we mentioned that there's a lot of cast members from this movie. Is there any? With the exception of Ansel Elgort and Kevin Spacey, because I know he's high on your list. Right. With the exception of Ansel Elgort and Lily James, let's eliminate the two of them because they're the two leads, and I think they're both. This movie, by the way, made me fall in love with Lily James.
Yeah,
easily fall in love with Lily James. I have not seen Yesterday yet.
Great in Yesterday.
I want to see it because I want to see it because she's in it. But I'm also a huge Beatles fan. So I want to see it for that. I just haven't had the chance to see it yet. But with the exception of Ansel and Lily, what other cast member? I'm going to say one. Yeah. What other cast member stands out for this?
Easy for me. John Hamm.
Yo, absolutely
fucking crushed it.
Absolutely. Buddy was one of those characters that is so amazingly written that like in the first half of the movie, you love him. Like
he's charming.
Yes.
He's the one that's standing up for
He's
baby.
John Hamm.
Yeah.
He's funny. He's witty. He's sarcastic. He's charming. And then by the end of the movie, you're like, Jesus Christ, this man has to die.
Terrifying.
Buddy
with a vendetta is your worst nightmare.
That diner scene, man, with him in the diner sitting next, like,
yeah,
you're right. Like the tone of his character completely changes. But yeah, that was the name I was hoping you were going to throw out there, because I mean, everybody else in this movie is great. Eliza's great. Jamie Foxx. Jamie Foxx is another one that when he died, I was like, yes, that needed to happen,
because you're watching him just like come unhinged as it goes to where you're like, he's going to be a problem for everyone.
Yeah. So when I was saying like, okay, who stands out, I was hoping John Hamm was the name you were going to go to. I mean, Bernthal is great as well. Although
Bernthal is great. He's only in the beginning. I love that the last line you hear from John Bernthal is, if you don't see me again, I'm dead. And then he never shows up again. So I just assume Griff is dead.
Well, I mean, you look at the fact that Eddie was in the trunk because of the mistake that he made with the mask. So that's probably Doc probably had a backup plan. That's the reason why he only used he never used the same crew.
Yeah.
Was because most of the crew probably weren't alive. Most of the crews that he's used probably aren't alive anymore. He covered his tracks. That's who the person that Doc was. So standout moments and quotes about this movie.
You mentioned the masks. This is what gets
I love it.
That whole bit is great, where he's like, says, oh, Michael Myers masks, and then they get there and he pulls out these Austin Powers masks. Yeah, baby. And then it's like, no, he said Michael Myers. He's like, yeah, Michael Myers, like Austin Powers. He's like, no, like from Halloween, you idiot. Like,
well, there's a reason why they did that.
Well, yeah, they could not get
couldn't get the rights to use the actual Michael Myers masks. Yep.
Which is funny because it kind of ties into the actual Halloween Michael Myers mask. Because again, that is a mask that is something else that wasn't supposed to be noticed as, because it's a William Shatner mask redone. So I think that's a really funny connection. But they couldn't get the rights to use Halloween Michael Myers. So like it became a plot point in the movie that came from an actual thing they had to deal with.
Yeah.
Which is great. Exactly.
That's such a great scene. One of my favorite scenes of the movie is the Easy by the Commodores. Yeah. When he's eliminating the body for Doc, and he's getting rid of the car. And I love the fact that when you look at, and I'm sure this is something that you know already, but listeners might not, the reason why they used that song was because they went to Ansel to see if there were any songs that he knew by heart. And that was one of the ones that he mentioned. So they used it in the movie because he did know it by heart.
Which that scene is so impactful because it's like really him trying to say, I'm done.
Yeah.
Because those driving gloves that Doc had just given him, he's taking those off and just throwing them into the dump. Or he takes that burner phone and just throws it into another car. Like he's like trying to rid himself of everything. Obviously, it's not going to work. Doc is not going to loosen his grip on him, but you can really see. So that song fits also. He's trying to lift that weight, and everything's easy again. I'm done. The job is done. I don't have to do this anymore. How naive of him.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, so looking at some of the other tidbits about the movie, I love the fact, and you brought this up on Adrenaline Cinnamon too. Adrenaline Cinema. Adrenaline Cinnamon is a completely other podcast.
Yeah.
Almost every scene where there's no music playing, you can hear the ringing in the background to represent the tinnitus that baby has. I think that, again, is such a brilliant little through line of the movie.
Yeah.
Edgar Wright generally doesn't allow improv on his sets, but he did make exceptions for Jamie Foxx in the movie. Brighton Rock by Queen, which we mentioned earlier, was always intended to be used in the final chase scene. And it is such an incredible song to use during that chase scene.
Yes.
It's so good. And I love this too. We mentioned our love for John Hamm in this movie. John Hamm's role was written and always intended for him. He is the only actor from the very first table read to actually end up in the final film.
That's awesome.
So, and that just goes to tell you a lot about him as well. John Hamm, is that he really embraced that role.
Yeah.
I'm such a fan of John Hamm's.
It's great.
He needs to pop up in more.
Mm-hmm.
He really, and he has some comedic chops, man.
Really does.
If you've ever seen him on like SNL and stuff, like he's got some comedic chops. I wish he'd pop up in more stuff. I really do. We need to write a movie and put John Hamm in it.
Yeah.
So again, there's a lot of other tidbits that if you go online, you can find out. Emma Stone was originally sought out to play Deborah, but she dropped out to make La La Land, which that works. I mean, I think she ended up winning an Oscar for that. So, and the other thing that we kind of haven't mentioned, but I'll end with this one. You were the one that actually introduced me to this. Edgar Wright had been sitting on the idea for this film for a while, and a lot of it came from the music video he did for Mint Royale, for Blue Song, which if you watch that video, it is pretty much the opening of Baby Driver.
The getaway driver sitting and jamming out, waiting for the other guys to come back. Just Noel Fielding.
And Nick Frost is in the music video as well.
Yes.
So yeah.
And you see a little clip of that music.
You do in Baby's apartment.
Yeah.
When he's flipping through channels, you can see Mint Royale in the background. So there's a lot of stuff about all 5 of these movies we didn't mention, but we kind of had to tie in as much as we could into, and I think we're already going to go, I think we're probably already over an hour and a half at this point, and that's fine. I mean, 5 movies with 2 super fans of all 5 of the movies, it was bound to go over. We're going to try our best. I want us to actually try to put these movies in order of our favorites. But before we do that, we both did just recently we actually pushed the recording of this a couple days because right as we were about to record this, we got our hands on a copy of the Sparks Brothers,
yes,
which is the new documentary about the band Sparks that Edgar Wright directed and produced.
Yeah.
So we wanted to have an opportunity to watch it, to give some thoughts about that in this, since we're talking about Edgar Wright to begin with. Obviously, Last Night in Soho, we're not going to be able to talk about for months from now.
I might have to just come back and nerd out about that movie when it comes out.
I honestly do think we should. I think we should come back and we'll just dive deep into just Last Night in Soho. Because there is an episode of Wilhelm coming up in which we're every once in a while we are just going to focus on one movie, because one of the episodes coming up in the next couple weeks is our friend Greg and we're going to be diving into Bad Times at the El Royale, which is another movie that I absolutely love. So, and doesn't really fit into many categories.
Yeah, talk about directors with very unique visions and styles. Drew Goddard is one.
Yeah, Cabin in the Woods is just another. Yeah. Cabin in the Woods does fit some categories, but Bad Times but
bends them a lot.
Oh, absolutely. But Bad Times doesn't really kind of fit anywhere. Yeah. So we're gonna spend some time solo on that movie. So if you're a fan of Wilhelm, go watch Bad Times at the El Royale and prepare, because we're going to be talking about that in a couple weeks. But let's spend a couple minutes on the Sparks Brothers. Yeah. What were your initial thoughts on this? Because this is still very fresh in our minds.
Yeah, I was so drawn into it. It's one of those things. I'm not a huge documentary person. There's a few that I've watched that I really enjoy, specifically ones about bands and music. I enjoy more. But this is one of those where it's I don't want it to end. I was I just need to know more. I want to continue to know more.
And it's 2 hours and 20 minutes long. Yeah. It is.
Yeah.
It's a longer documentary.
But it was one of those things where how have I never heard of this band before? Mm-hmm. Because they've been around since their first album was in 1968, I believe.
I think around that time. I think they've been in the music industry for 50 years.
Yeah, 25 albums.
Yeah.
And the fact that I've never heard them, of course, they had more commercial success in England. That was kind of their thing, is they're an American band.
Which is weird because they're an American band.
Most people thought they were a British band because they moved to England in order to really get their start, because that's what they wanted to be. It was like the British bands that they admired.
Yeah.
And so they became an American British band, basically. But yeah, it was crazy that I'd never heard them. Really even in passing, you would think I would have recognized some of their songs from radio or this. And I was I don't know any of this stuff. I did not know these guys existed. And they're showing footage of them playing festivals with huge crowds. I'm I just missed this.
And that was my thought too. As I'm watching, first off, I'm fascinated by these two guys.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by the two of them.
Their personalities, they're the eccentric, do whatever it takes to be famous. We want to be famous. We want everybody to love us kind of people. But at the same time, they're very down to earth and personable, and it's this weird dichotomy of I was they're we're superstars. We want everybody to love and adore us, but also you can catch us at the local coffee shop just hanging out every week.
Every morning we're here at this local coffee shop. Yeah. And they're Ron and Russell were two guys that I was I just want to meet these guys.
Yeah.
Not to geek out over anything. They just seem like cool guys to meet.
Yeah,
they seem very eccentric but also very grounded, and which is a weird combination. Because how do you be both of those things at the same time? And you're right, I'm so fascinated and drawn in. It's 2 hours and 21 minutes, but it didn't feel like 2 hours and 21 minutes at all. It passes very quickly because you're so drawn in by everything. And that was my thought too, was I'm watching, and there's so many people in this documentary, from Beck to Michael Myers to not that Michael Myers, Mike Myers, as in Austin Powers, Mike Myers, to Weird Al Yankovic and
Flea,
so many people, and Jason Schwartzman, many people that I know from both from entertainment and music. Yeah. And I'm watching this. I'm how do all these people know of Sparks Brothers? I'm fans of all these people.
Yeah, Patton Oswalt.
And I've never even heard of this band before.
Yeah.
And you're right. Even I was thinking well, maybe there'll be one song that'll pop up that I'll recognize a little bit. Nothing. Throughout the entire documentary, I'm I don't know any of these songs, but I know one thing you and I have in common. We've both started listening to Sparks.
Yeah, I've got a good bit of the songs that were featured in this on playlists and stuff now.
It was one of those things that I watched it, And even up until like I'm like an hour and a half into the documentary, and I'm like, this is fake. Like, this is a mockumentary. Like, this isn't real. Like, how have I gone this long and like I've never heard it? But then when you see like clips of them on like Dick Clark and like, there's no way they could have faked this. This is real. It's just, the documentary is fascinating. It's funny.
Yeah.
There were times of that documentary I was cracking up.
Yes. A lot of it, Edgar Wright, again, I talk about like his very witty, clever, small ways of joking was like during the interview segments was just the names that would pop up. Like, because Edgar Wright was sitting in front of the camera talking about it for a little bit, and he's just like, Edgar Wright, fanboy.
Yeah.
Instead of director of his film, he's just fanboy. But like, Beck, because it would be like, Roddy Bottum from Faith No More. And it was like, Beck, see above.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that one was great. Or, like Jack Antonoff's would change a lot. It was like writer for Lorde and Taylor Swift and and they would just turn into. They never mentioned his band Bleachers, which I really like. Which, a side note, but yeah, I love that they had the two guys from Duran Duran, and then it just had Duran under each of the names as they sat next to each other, like things like that.
The little nuances in the things that he does. I mean, and it's filmed very, very stylistically in that all the talking heads are in black and white when they're talking about it, including Ron and Russell. But even the talking heads with Ron and Russell are so funny at times, but that's more of them.
Yeah,
that's them being funny. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't want to say much about anything because I don't want to ruin it. I do want people to, if you've never heard of Sparks, I guarantee, like Pake and I, you will still enjoy this documentary.
Absolutely,
it's so intriguing to watch. But the very, very end of the documentary, when Ron and Russell are doing the little known facts about themselves, number 11, I was cracking up. The very last one, I was dying. And that's the thing, like, it shows the brilliance of Ron and Russell too, because they go through like these 10 little known facts about them, and each one gets increasingly a little bit more like unbelievable. Like the one about the horseshoe farm or the seahorse farm. Yeah. I was like, what? I'm like, that is ridiculous. That can't possibly be true. And then it gets to number 11, and the thing that they do for number 11, I'm like, well, were these first 10 true or not? Like, or are they just fucking with us?
Yeah.
Like it could be either way. So
you can watch the 2.5 hours, and especially Ron, you're like, I feel like I still don't know anything about him. And I think he likes it that way.
I think he does. And I think that's brilliant. And like knowing that they still are performing, they still they just put out an album, what, in 2019? I think
2020. They had one.
Was it 2020? Okay, so I was a year off. Yeah. They put. I think it's like Big Balls or something like that, or Rubber Balls or something.
Balls was an early one. It was a Steady Drip or something.
That's it. Yeah, Steady Drip was the one in 2020. But knowing that they still put out albums and they plan to continuously still.
I looked up tour dates for them.
Oh, and that's what I was going to say.
They're not coming near me anywhere, but I think you might have some dates you could go to.
I might have to look, because that's the thing. After watching this documentary, I'm like, I'll be damned. I want to go see these guys live.
Yeah,
I don't know their music at all, but I want to go see them because that's how much they intrigue me.
I just want to go watch Ron dance on the stage like he does.
That's right. God, it's so good. If you get the opportunity to check it out, it's called The Sparks Brothers. I think it's still in theaters in some places, but I think
select
it's
theaters. But it's available for rent, or you can get it on Amazon. It's like $20.
Yeah, I think it's available on VOD right now in some places as well, which is how we got our hands on it. So, highly recommend it. Check out the Sparks Brothers, whether you're a fan of, whether you know who Sparks is or not. Check it out, because it's so intriguing. It's honestly, it's one of the better documentaries I've seen in a long time. But let's try and do this. It's going to be tough.
Not counting Sparks Brothers, but
not counting Sparks
Brothers. That's an outlier documentary.
We're going to talk about Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, Scott Pilgrim, World's End, and Baby Driver. I want to preface it. We're going to try our best to put them in a top 5 order, but I want to preface it by saying there honestly is no wrong answer.
Yeah.
To the two of us.
Because I think I have my list now, and it's like, I'm mad at myself because the one that's like number 5 shouldn't be, but any of them could. It makes it seem like it's lesser, but it's not.
Anything I put at 3, 4, or 5, I feel like I'm doing it wrong, and it's because it's impossible, and we can't say first place, like 5-way tie for first place. That's kind of cheating. So give me yours. What order would you put these in?
All right, am I going top down?
Go 5 to 1.
5 to 1. Well, you know what 1 is.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, man, I feel bad. I think it's just my American sensibilities and a lot of the music in me that the two outliers are going to go at the end. But so Cornetto Trilogy is going to be the bottom 3.
Okay. I don't think I'm not criticizing you at all because I don't think there's a wrong answer.
But I'm going to go 5 being Hot Fuzz, 4 being World's End, 3 being Shaun of the Dead. And then 2 Baby Driver, Scott Pilgrim taking the top.
Okay. All right. Again,
so you could switch the order up for the most part at any point. I'd be like, yeah, that sounds good too.
Well, see, and that's the other thing about it too. Like when it comes to the Cornetto trilogy, like if I watch the Cornetto trilogy, like I'll watch Shaun of the Dead and I'm like, this is my favorite movie of all of them. And then I'll watch Hot Fuzz and I'll be like, well, this is my favorite movie of all of them. And then I watch World's End and I'm like, well, this is my favorite movie of all of them. Yeah. It's very difficult. And again, I'm not criticizing the order at all because I feel like this is almost an impossible task.
Yeah.
For two people like us who are such huge fans of Edgar Wright, this is an impossible task. Yeah. So much so that I'm still having trouble, but I'm going to attempt it. Number 5, God, this is tough. This really is tough. I feel like I mentioned earlier, it's a matter of throwing them up and seeing which order they land. I'm going to go number 5. I'm going to go Hot Fuzz, which really sucks because I love that movie. I'm going to go Hot Fuzz, Baby Driver. Oh man. Scott Pilgrim.
I'm out now. I'm kidding.
I knew it. I was waiting. I'm like, if I say Scott Pilgrim is anything other than 1, he's going to say something. Now I'd say Hot Fuzz, Baby Driver. Number 3 is Scott Pilgrim. Number 2, Shaun of the Dead, because that movie really kicked off my love for Edgar Wright. So it's got to be high on the list. And number 1 is World's End. I just adore that movie. I really do. It's such a different film from the other 2 movies, but so similar in the same aspect.
Yeah.
And I just, so that's my order. Again, I don't think there's anything wrong with either order. There's no wrong answer. So, but this has been a great conversation about these movies. I'm so glad I got you to come on and do this. But I want to give you an opportunity to kind of plug away everything you've got working on. I mentioned at the top, you've got a number of podcasts that you're on. You guest on a number of others. So let my listeners know places they can find you and what you're doing.
Yeah. So of course I have my own 2 podcasts that I'm on regularly every week. And that is Run for Your Lives with the Pirate Corp Entertainment Network with me and Daphne. We talk all things monster movies, creature features, disaster flicks. We've run the gamut from Jurassic Park to Twister to Cabin in the Woods. So we talk about all that kind of stuff. So let's see. This week we have Lake Placid, I think, releasing this week. And then we just recorded today for Shark Week with Rima. We did the Meg,
which is a great movie. It's a great movie.
So be looking out for those in the next week or 2. And so those have been great. And then with Rima, I also co-host Strange Indeed on the Podcastica Network. And we've been covering Lisey's Story, a Stephen King adaptation, over on Apple TV. This week is actually going to be the series finale. I think it's a limited series, so the season finale, but I think that's it. So the finale of that will be this week, and then next week we will be starting Sweet Tooth over there. I
was actually gonna ask what you guys are gonna be covering next, and I think you didn't mention Sweet Tooth before. Yeah,
I know it's been out for a little bit, so hopefully people will enjoy doing a rewatch or something.
I watched it, and I will probably rewatch along. I wasn't crazy about Lisey's Story, so I wasn't watching that.
Yeah.
Sweet Tooth, I will probably watch along with you guys.
It's just that they came out. They premiered on the same night.
Yeah,
and we had already like
you're committed to Lacey's story.
We'd already committed to Lacey's story, so I was like, if we can wait, we will do Sweet Tooth right after, and so I'm excited to jump into that too. So.
Yeah, so you and Rima have a great dynamic together. I know. I got to fill in for you for a couple weeks with Rima when we talked about The Stand.
Yeah.
But you and Rima are great together in Strange Indeed, and you and Daphne are great together on Run for Your Lives too. I've been on a couple episodes of Run for Your Lives already. I always have a blast anytime I come on. You guys always let me pick my own movies that I want to talk about anytime we come on. The last episode I did a couple weeks ago was Independence Day for 4th of July.
So much fun.
That was so much fun. Even down to my recorded monologue of President Whitmore's speech, which apparently a lot of people liked.
Yeah.
I thought it was garbage, but apparently a lot of people thought it was fun. So
we got copyright dinged for that one when we uploaded to YouTube because of the music.
Oh, because of the music. Yeah. You could have cut it off the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
Just left it out.
YouTube has this new thing that they do now. Instead of like giving you like a strike or taking it down, they just say, well, you can keep it up if you let us throw an ad on this.
Throw an ad on it.
We get all the revenue and you don't get anything. We're like, sure.
Yeah, I do that too on YouTube. If I ever get dinged for anything, most of the time it's like, well, you can still keep it up, but we're just going to put ads on. I'm like, whatever.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, go for it. Anything else other than those two, or is that pretty much it for right
that's
now?
My regular ones. And then I think I will be, I don't know what the release schedule is exactly, but I should be recording on Field to Screen with our friend Alex Baelish next week. I think we're going to be doing The Sandlot, so be looking for that.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm going to be on Field to Screen sometime in the next couple weeks as well. Weirdly enough, talking the Pitch Perfect movies. Alex really just wants me on those because he knows I'm in love with Anna Kendrick.
Yeah.
So, Anna, if you're listening, please come on my podcast and also marry me.
When's the Anna Kendrick episode of the
there will be an Anna Kendrick episode of Wilhelm at some point in the future, and it will literally just be me drooling into a microphone. So be prepared. No, but as for me and this podcast, if you're liking what you're hearing here on Wilhelm, be sure to leave a review of the show on whatever podcasting platform you're listening on. We're available on all platforms. So wherever you can find podcasts, you can find Wilhelm. The more reviews, the more people we reach. So, be sure to do that. Also follow Wilhelm on social media like Facebook at facebook.com/the Wilhelm podcast and Instagram and Twitter at the Wilhelm pod. Finally, if you would like to be a guest or have an idea for a topic, theme, movie, film franchise, whatever you want to hear us talk about, you can reach out to me directly by emailing me at the Wilhelm podcast at gmail.com and let me know. I'm always open to guests, and I fell behind on recording on, like, I was ahead episodes and I fell behind because literally as you're listening to this, know that Pake and I recorded it less than 12 hours before.
Yeah.
Ordinarily I was like weeks ahead. But I'm getting back ahead. Like all of a sudden I have like 5 episodes that are going to be recorded in the next 2 weeks, which is great because I like being ahead. And I'm working on a way to do feedback. I haven't figured it out yet. It's kind of tough because I do record so much ahead of time sometimes. I'll figure it out, and once I do, I'll let everybody know. And I want to pose a challenge to all my listeners out there. Tell 2 people about the podcast. That's it. If every person out there who listens tells 2 people about the podcast who don't already know about the podcast, that's a huge help.
Yeah.
So tell 2 people about the podcast. Tell them to give it a shot. If after 3 episodes they don't like it, they don't have to keep listening.
Do it for the greater good.
For the greater good. I think that's a good place to end. But Pake, thank you again for coming on and being a part of this.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on and allowing me to nerd out about Edgar Wright for probably way too long.
Yeah. And this won't be the last time you'll be on. We already have other episodes that we have you down for that you're going to be doing in the future. And I'm sure there'll be more on top of those as we progress further on. But thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for the amazing feedback I've been getting so far on these first couple episodes. It means a lot. I'm working on some celebrity guests for Wilhelm as well, which I think would be cool to just have them come on and talk movies.
Yeah.
But we'll
Not
see
their
how
own movies.
what's
Let them
no
nerd
not
out-
the
Let them nerd out about something else.
I think the only person I could bring on to talk about their own movies would be Kevin Smith.
Yeah.
I think bringing Kevin Smith on to talk Kevin Smith movies, I think would be fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
And I think he would love it.
Oh yeah.
I think he would love it because he's that way. But again, thank you for the amazing feedback. Thank you for listening. Tell your friends about the podcast. Let me know if you want to be a part of it, if you have any ideas for things you want to cover. But until that time, we'll see you guys around the bend for another episode of Wilhelm. Take care, everybody.